Tragic and comic, bitter and sweet, sad and thirsty, bugs and bunny. What's this episode about again? Oh, I'm sure Oliver will clear it up.
So here we are with the first regular episode of the show's third year, and I thought it might not be a bad idea to review a core concept of what we do here at In a Handful of Minutes. It's a curious little X factor without which I might never have started doing this, and though you might not all be familiar with my name for it, at some point or another you've all taken a chuckle from perfectly wonderful and horrible things. As with almost all endeavors, we're not the first to mine this particular vein of entertainment. The Darwin Awards, a comedic award for people who remove themselves from the gene pool in a spectacularly stupid and fantastic fashion, are a well-known example. See, we all agree that laughing at someone's death is just plain horrible. But when that someone dies by slamming their rocket-powered station wagon into the side of a desert mesa, it does become a little wonderful. Of our several dozen episodes so far, all of the topics can fall somewhere on this Venn diagram. Now, we generally aim for a perfect bullseye between things that make you smile and things that make you develop a facial tic. Sometimes, either because of my choice of topic or how I handle it, we veer off center a little. It's not really a problem if we veer off to the left, but head too far over to the right, and like a zombie at a lumberjack convention, you're in dangerous territory. Yes, stray too far into the horrible, and you risk the unenviable task of trying to wring some laughter from human misery, also known as schadenfreude. And schadenfreude alone does not make a PWNT. For example, 18th century nouveau riche businessman Timothy Dexter caned his wife. But if that was the end of the story, then you'd have to be an emotionally stunted sadist to get any amusement out of it. That we got to this unfortunate act via Timothy Dexter faking his own death so that he can watch his funeral from a window and see how people react, then getting annoyed when his wife isn't sufficiently sad, a wife, by the way, who he married purely for her dowry and referred to as a ghost when people asked who she was around the house. Well, that's all what pushes this event a little closer to the center of our diagram. Another reason we so often look at perfectly wonderful and horrible things is that by and large, they're very memorable. For better or for worse, I know I'm going to remember the ludicrous details of 1990s Blood Diamond warlord General Butt Naked far clearer and for far longer than, say, a nice day I had with a nice woman last May, or Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme which devastated so many American investors. Unless all the major news outlets neglected to mention that Bernie attended board meetings in a blonde wig and wedding dress over a Titanic t-shirt, brandishing an AK-47 while loudly insisting that board members refer to him as General Bacon Bits? Maybe I just missed that BBC News ticker blurb? Which brings me to my favorite aspect of perfectly wonderful and horrible things. They tend to expand your knowledge and make you want to learn more about the world you live in. You better believe that when I first learned about the London beer flood, I immediately wanted to go out and learn more about biblically proportioned food calamities. Lo and behold, I learned about exploding granaries and the Boston molasses disaster. And then I cobbled this all together into episode 22. Then I got a little hungry. True story. Unsurprisingly, this review comes down in favor of the sparks created when you strike perfectly wonderful things against perfectly horrible things. So, instead of ending the episode in the usual fashion, and to celebrate 2 years of In a Handful of Minutes, I'm going to announce a contest. The challenge? Now that I've thoroughly defined them, I'd like you to send me the most perfectly wonderful and horrible thing you can find. There are some fairly obvious guidelines, and you can link me or tell me what to Google by emailing me at handfulofminutes@gmail.com or by making a comment below this very video. The prize? Whomever sends me and my panel of expert judges the most perfectly wonderful and horrible thing will win a one-of-a-kind screen-printed t-shirt designed and made by yours truly, which will feature a design based on whatever thing you send me. The other half of the prize is that it's pretty much a given I'll do an episode of the show on whatever the winning thing is. The cutoff is in 2 weeks, also known as September 5th, midnight. So make sure to get in your perfectly wonderful and horrible thing before then. And remember, deep down, we're all perfectly wonderful and horrible things.
What Oliver forgot to mention is the person who sends in the least impressive thing will win the highly coveted last prize. What is it? Why, it's being rudely awakened by old men covered in garbage.
As with almost all endeavors, we're not the first to mine this particular vein of entertainment. The Darwin Awards. Yes, stray too far into the horrible, and you ever... I immediately wanted to go out and discover more about about biblically proportioned food.